Well, hello, internet friends near and far. Welcome to another episode of Parks and Conversation. We're in the home stretch. We've only got this episode and two more after it before we're all finished with this delightful show about Pawnee, Indiana. My name is Jason. I'm joined all the way across town by the power of the internet by my friend Jeremy. Say hello, Jeremy.
Hey, how's it going, Jason?
It is going well. It is as we're recording this, it is about to be fall officially, and it is a beautiful day. So, how are you today?
I'm well. I'm well. I don't. Can you explain something to me? Because today's episode is all about learning, I think. And the next episode is the penultimate episode.
Correct.
Why do we have a separate word for like the episode or the game episode thing that comes before the final? Like it feels like second place. Penultimate. Mm-hmm. It's not the ultimate. It's almost ultimate. Yes. I just feel like why even call that out? Why is that a thing?
Jeremy,
learn me.
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But Latin is fun. So these are all Latin things. I don't know. We have so many languages in the world, and the good news is we don't have to know all of them, and we don't have to make apologies for them. You know, it's like, hey, that's German's problem. That's Latin's problem.
There's probably a word for that.
That's German's problem?
Yeah, the Germans have a word for their problem.
Deutschenfrade.
Mein Baden.
Yeah, something like that.
Anyway, and we don't have to worry about it right now because this is not the penultimate episode.
This episode would be the anti-penultimate episode.
Wait, are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm serious.
That's what this is called.
Yep.
Third to last.
Yep. Because it's anti is before.
The penultimate.
Before the penultimate episode. So.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty great. And now, as I said Latin, I realized that it might actually be Greek. But anyway.
It's all
bad.
To me.
Yeah. I mean, the only reason I know that penultimate and antepenultimate are things is because of Greek class in Bible school, knowing where the accent is important.
It's finally paying off.
Yeah, it's about time. I haven't used Greek in 23 years.
You're welcome.
It's not true.
I'm just glad we opened the episode with this. This is fascinating.
I mean, so people who were like, I love comedy shows. I love people who talk about comedy shows. They're like riding on their exercise bike. They're running on the street, or they're just doing the dishes, making dinner for their family. I don't know what they're doing. And they're like, yeah, I was wondering about that penultimate and anti-penultimate situation as well. So I'm glad we solved that. But you know who's not wondering about anything and life just happens to him?
Andy Dwyer.
I was going to say Bird Hapley.
Also true. Also acceptable.
Maybe true. So this episode is a fun episode. That's how I'm going to start.
Okay.
It is fun.
Yeah.
It is all basically the last episode of Johnny Karate Super Magical. What's it called? Johnny
Phenomenal.
Karate Super Awesome Musical Explosion Show.
Yeah.
And this is the public access show that Andy has been running for 3 years now. We're not really sure how long he's been doing this, but it is a way to book more concerts is what I feel like the whole thing is.
It's a good gig if you can get it.
Yeah. And when we learned about his contract negotiations several episodes ago, he was only getting paid $100. And he had to drive everybody home. He had to clean. He had to do janitorial duties. He wrote, acted, directed, produced built all the sets for everything. And so $100 seemed like a pretty good deal to him.
Yeah.
And the show actually looks a lot better than what I would think Andy could do for $100, knowing that it was all his responsibility. So
that's where the budget went. They didn't have to pay him.
Oh, so the budget really went into set design. That's a good deal.
That is a good deal.
So, yeah. Anyway, so Jeremy, what are your impressions on this episode?
Yeah, like you said, this is a fun episode, and everybody was involved except for Tom, and most of the original cast is here. And yeah, I think that the premise of this is really fun. With it being his actual show, I think the commercials are hilarious and a nice break from the kind of saccharine sweetness of his show. And then, but then it also kind of sets up, it's like this last breath of, before we get into the final, the penultimate and ultimate. Mm-hmm. Pro ultimate. I don't know how
just
it works.
Ultimate.
Yeah, just ultimate, like frisbee. And so yeah,
yes,
I think
that is the last frisbee.
This is the final frisbee, and well, that's what they ate their cereal out of when they first got married.
Yeah, it all comes around.
Yeah, and
like a boomerang,
which is just a weirdly shaped frisbee. So I enjoyed it. I think this is a really fun show, and it kind of gets away from the major plot lines and just is goofy and silly like Andy. So what about you? I feel like you said this is fun, and that's all I'll say. And there was a little bit of an ominous tone to it. Yeah.
I think it's fun. I enjoyed it the first time I watched it, and the second and third, and probably the fourth and fifth as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But now, just watching it, it's like this episode really exists just to have that moment of like catharsis for April and Andy. And April feels bad that they're moving and Andy's leaving this thing he loves. Right. And it's like, but I love you more. Mm-hmm. Right? Like that's what we want to get to with Andy, who most of his arc has been human golden retriever, but also kind of selfish. Because he just does what he wants.
Right.
And now he's actually like saying, no, we're partners here, April, and you're finally finding something that you want to do. And I want to go with you on that adventure. Like, that's great. I love that part. Mm-hmm. But it also then feels like this weird clip show kind of vibe with guest hosts or guest stars.
Yeah.
That is like, I feel like they're just trying to do so much in this episode, and it feels a little rushed. Like, I would like to have had more of Johnny Karate instead of just this like totally out of the blue thing.
Like if we had seen other like not like episodes or parts of episodes before setting up some of the segments and just kind of, or maybe more of his life. And it just felt like this is what he's been doing this entire time. Like these are all of the segments and we got to show you what they are to fill in the gaps for the last 2 to 3 years, that this is what he's been doing.
Yeah.
And this is the first time you're seeing it though.
Yeah. So we didn't even know he had a show until 2 episodes ago when he's doing his contract negotiations. Right. So it's like, but this is a major part of his life. So, what's going on here? Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, so it's fine, but the best part of it for me really is I love the commercials so much.
Yeah,
because again, it is more of the world of Pawnee that I love. So, so I didn't even really know how to approach talking about the show because everybody's all there, and I mean I don't like just going through and like hitting the lines and the jokes is kind of one of those things where it's just like. I don't know. Like it doesn't. This show actually doesn't move the story forward. No, until the very end of the episode. And so, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's weird. I do like, just the way that. I like that Pert Hapley is the announcer for some reason, and when he's talking about. His show that's all about learning, music, animals, fireworks, water skis, and above all, ice cream, pizza, ninjas getting stronger, sharks versus bears, and above all, karate. There's 2 above alls, right? Which is great.
Pretty much sums it. And not only that, but after the first above all, there's more things.
Yeah. So, it's the show. I feel like this is what it is, Jeremy. I feel like this episode trying to get into the world of Johnny Karate is trying to do too much with also like the ending of Johnny Karate, much like the way that the Johnny Karate Super Awesome Musical Explosion show feels like it's always trying to do too much based on the explanation that Andy gives about what this show's all about above all.
So it's perfect.
I guess so. Yeah, it's the perfect episode. Thank you. You really brought me around on this one.
You did it. You just led yourself to the water.
I think I'm the horse.
Yeah.
Who taught myself to drink and led myself to the water.
Yeah. I was just standing on the other side of the shore going, it's over here.
The truth is you were the wind beneath my wings in all of this.
Fly, horsey fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Like little Sebastian.
Yeah.
Your 5,000 candles. So, but the story of the episode is somebody has stolen Andy's guitar, Johnny Karate's guitar, and so they call in Special Agent Burt Macklin, and I do love the credits transition for Burt Macklin, action star. That's pretty great. And when he's on the phone, he just saying, "I don't give a crap, Batman. You work for me. Increase the perimeter." What?
Yeah, because in his world, Batman's just a beat cop. That's just right. stringing a police line tape around things.
Right. Like the real superhero is Andy, who runs the superheroes. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, and then Donna is the chief. She's the chief, of police,
who's dressed up like a regular cop.
Right. And if we don't get the guitar back, the peace in Iraq will be canceled.
Yeah. That is one of the funny things about this episode is how every situation is like, so it's not just funny, it's beyond ridiculous. Like it's just so far.
It's so strange. So I love Donna's little cameo here as the chief of police. He's like, all right, I'm on it. And Bert is like a noir character. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little talking to the camera. I'm drowning in the adult end of the pool and the lifeguard's off in the bathroom pooping. And all the kids start laughing. And Andy's like, yeah, that's good. He's delighted by his own line.
Right.
And so he's going to try to solve this. And
because the guitar is worth just shy of $1 billion.
Yeah. Which is amazing. How do you even insure something like that? That's the real question. And like, if it's stolen, the responsible thing would be to file a claim.
Right. That would be an excellent episode. Hey kids, today we're going to learn how to file a claim.
This is something that you will actually have to learn how to do, children, because not all your friends are going to come and teach you how to do science and stuff. So, like people complain about all the stuff we learned in high school, and it's like no one ever taught me how to budget.
Right.
Like I actually need to do that, but I can find the area of a circle pretty good. So
that'll help with my literal pi. Good. Perfect.
Yeah. Come on now.
Right.
Pie is amazing. Anyway, so
fills the cracks of the heart.
It does. Yeah. So the punishment for whoever stole this is going to be a one-way ticket to the Funky Monkey Dunk tank. And so then, so then they go into the song about punching boredom in its stupid face. It's so good. There's some good songs here. And so Andy tells everybody it's his final show and everybody's all sad. And, when they call in Burt Macklin, that all the kids put on their sunglasses, but there's one kid in a lab coat.
He's a Professor Big Brain fan.
Yeah. And so we haven't gotten to Professor Big Brain yet, but so it's pretty great. And so Andy is explaining to the kids he's going to move to Washington, D.C. And looking at the cool things there, like this White House and this mental institution, which is the Smithsonian Institute, and the Lincoln Memorial, and the crazy statue of the giant monster sitting on a chair that represents all of America's enemies.
And I think those are the funniest jokes for Andy, like almost through his entire arc, is just how wrong he is about things. And yet, maybe. I mean, it kind of makes sense.
Well, but he's saying this on an educational children's program.
Right.
Like in theory, this is for the children, and the children are not benefiting from this at all.
No, this is because he's a giant kid. This is the blind leading the blind, essentially.
Yeah. So, so he's going to be moving there, and April comes out to talk to the folks.
I'm sorry, who?
April. April Ludgate Karate Dwyer. So, and so they start with all of Andy's friends have their own little segments, which is fun. And so one of them, April, has an animal corner, and she brought out a Goliath bird-eating tarantula. And they pull up the sheet, and it's missing from the little plastic cage thing, terrarium. And Andy's like, I don't know what happened. I took it out to play hide and seek. I couldn't find it. And that's what happened. So now it's one of their favorite segments, Loose Animal in the Studio. And then they play this disclaimer, or they have to run this disclaimer on the screen. And all the while, Andy's going, boring. Here's a disclaimer. I didn't read this disclaimer. And my
favorite one is Good Point, when it's scrolling up, but his finger's going down.
Yeah. So the disclaimer happens, and then he's like, okay, kids, so look out for the Goliath bird-eating tarantula. And April's also known as the Devil's Fist. Bye, kids.
Now, do you think that they got that from their connections with the government in Venezuela?
Oh, you think April is still working with Johnny, the Venezuelan intern?
I do.
Maybe.
Send me a spider. Send me a giant spider.
Yeah. And he's
from
like,
your country, Venezuela?
I will, if you will love me forever and move to one of my many intern palaces.
We'll see.
And she's like,
send the spider first.
Yeah. Maybe.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how you would get that big of a spider, just like in the mail. Like,
you send a box of bananas.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah, right. Any box of bananas that comes from Venezuela has spiders in it. That's what I've heard.
Okay. Pause.
Okay.
Time out. Saved by the Bell style. When we were children, you and me, we were young. We did not know each other at the time.
We didn't know.
But we both knew about dialing for dollars.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. I remember watching a movie called Tarantula. Do you remember this movie? It was on Dialing for Dollars.
Yeah.
And the tarantulas came to America in a box of bananas.
Yeah.
And that has messed me up for my whole life. Like you go to Costco and like they've got all those bananas on pallets.
Like how many spiders by probability, how many spiders are in this area right now?
How many people are going to die a horrific 80s tarantula's death because we just put all these bananas in one place? And as Dr. Malcolm from Jurassic Park says, you asked if you could before you asked if you should. And now we're all going to die.
Oh, just sending spiders all over the world.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, I remember it was so good. I love those old creature features.
And it wasn't even that old. It was an 80s movie, right? It was in color. It was like they tried here recently to make this movie, and it ended up on Dialing for Dollars. And over again, Art would call people, and no one would be home.
Well, it looks like our jackpot just went up another $50.
We'll try again tomorrow.
Or $10 or whatever it was. They didn't have a big budget.
No. It's like this guy it's the same level of programming as Andy's show. His whole thing is we're going to play a movie and then I'm going to prank call some people.
Well, it's been 17 weeks and the pot's up to $45. Let's see who's going to win today.
Yeah. And like only people home during summer are kids. And like, are you over 18? Why are you asking me that?
And the elderly.
Who are you? Are you watching this? No, I'm watching my stories. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Time out.
Venezuela.
Back. So, so they are going to go. They're tasking the kids to solve Andy's problem, and so they're going to.
That's smart.
Yes. So they're going to do the 5 karate moves to success. Mm-hmm. They're going to learn something. They're going to karate chop something, and then they'll try something new, even if it's scary for you. And then they'll have some fun being nice to someone, because that's the Johnny Karate way. So the first one is to make something, and so they meet with Ron, who his character's name is Carpenter Ron. And I do love that his personality translates across the, real life into his role. When Andy says, "How are you doing?" Ron's response is, "My contract is very specific. I do not have to answer that question."
Yeah.
So So they're going to make a shadow box frame with American cherry wood. And so a shadow box frame is like a picture frame, but it's deeper. And you could set things up in a way where there would be shadows, is my understanding.
It's not where you keep your shadows.
No.
That's confusing to me.
No, like if Peter Pan had a shadow box and he just like kept his shadow in there, like the whole story would have gone way different.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's why you need Carpenter Ron in your life.
Yeah. So it's out of American cherry wood. And Andy's like, I have one question. And Ron's response, no, it does not taste like cherry. And you cannot eat it. He's like, I wasn't going to eat it. I was going to lick it. Yeah. And Andy's reminder to the kids, when you find something new, you must lick it before you eat it. And that is incorrect in a number of ways. Yeah. So transition then to the next one. Andy wants to hug Carpenter Ron, and Ron freaks out. You are mistaken. Remove the graphic. And then the next,
he wipes away the air above him.
Yeah. I listener and Jeremy, you can't see me, but I actually started wiping away the air.
No, I did too when I said that. I'm like waving right now. I'm doing it right now. Just like wipe.
And then the next thing is to learn something, and so they go to Professor Smartbrain, which is Ben is Professor Smartbrain. And Ben's like, listen, I know this is our last show, and I don't know if you got my email, but after that, maybe we could not use the boring buzzer. And Andy uses the boring buzzer as he's saying that.
Come on, man.
So they're going to learn about geography. And so Ben's like, which way would be the fastest way to get to Washington, D.C.? You could go airplane, train, or car. Now, as you can see, airplane is the fastest. And he's like, wow. Not the fastest. What about teleporting? And Ben's like, well, teleportation is impossible. It's about theoretical physics. And then hit the boring buzzer. Ben's like, you asked me to do this. And then Jerry shows up as Mailman Barry. And so he brought over 500 letters from kids asking him and April to stay. And this is where we start to see April start to feel bad when Andy's like, oh, babe, did you hear that? And then Jerry starts reading his own letter to Andy. And he's like, dear Sandy, I've never had a son of my own. And I just want you to know that for the past 10 years, and then Andy's like, it's time to karate chop something. Ninjas attack. And all the ninjas come and they attack Mailman Barry. And so, yeah, so that was fun. And Andy says, remember now, never attack a real postal employee.
That's responsible.
Yeah.
It's good advice.
I mean, how many of these kids, though, probably, like, it was 2 years in before, like, legal finally caught up to Andy. Like, I recognize you don't actually use your email, Andy, and you only read memos that are written on your arm. So legal's like, tell people not to attack male personnel.
That's what dogs are for.
Yeah. So then the next person is they're going to try something new, and it's with Leslie. And so she comes out and she's excited. Leslie's going to teach everybody how to be brave. And her whole thing is that she's going to be brave by taking over hosting the show. And it's going to turn into Johnny Karate, Andy Dwyer, this is your life. And Andy is like happy, but very confused because he's like, I usually have a script of what to say. And I don't know what to say. Like, I literally don't know what to say. And it's kind of a nightmare. And so April comes out and is like, well, you leave that to us. So when we come back, we'll take a look at the journey of Andy Dwyer. Stay tuned. And then it cuts to 2 commercials. And Pert happily intros the commercials by saying, now listen to some words from our sponsors are the words I am saying right now. And the first one is Ron saying, hire very good building company for your construction needs or do not. I am not a beggar. And then he just stares at the camera because he bought 30 seconds of ad time. And then he looks at his watch. End of commercial. And then the next one is Ken Hotate talking about the casino. Like Wamapoke people have a saying, only one who listens hears the cry of the wolf.
And this is like a super serious song.
Yeah.
Like the music, it's slowly pushing in on him.
Yeah.
It's very spiritual and inspirational.
That's how it feels.
Right.
And he's like, that advice has been passed down from generation to generation. Today, I give that advice to you. Listen for Coinsy the Wolf at Wamapoke Casino.
Coinsy.
And this is big head of a wolf
over the slot machine,
and it's like twice a day, Coinsy will howl for one lucky mega wolf jackpot, and
just puking out coins down on this dude. And my favorite part is that the guy is just holding up a cup, and he is nonplussed to say the least. Like his face is just like, "Yep, happens all the time."
I mean, it's twice a day. If I just park here for the whole day, I'm going to get 2 of these.
Yeah.
Coinsy the wolf.
Coinsy.
And then the his parting words, Wamapoke Casino, slowly taking our money back from white people 1 quarter at a time.
Had a kid.
And then Pert happily intros back into the show. And then Leslie is welcoming people back to Jeremy's getting a call, everybody.
Whoa, can you hear? Oh, did you hear the vibration?
Yeah.
Okay. It's like, how do you hear my ringer?
I can just sense it.
Yeah.
So Leslie's like, when I first met the man standing next to me, he was not a cultural phenomenon. And then he's like, phenomenon means to explore a cave.
Nope.
And so she tells the story about how he fell into a pit, and he's like, I was super wasted.
Kid show, Andy.
And he's like, oh yeah, good call. So then she starts talking about how like the falling into the pit led her to meet Anne and led to the park, and so she's like, in a weird way, I owe it all to you. And Andy's like, and now that the show's ending, I'm gonna have to start all over again. Hopefully there's a pit in Washington D.C. that I can fall into.
I had a kid.
Yeah. So then she's like, he pulled his life together, got a job at the Shoe Shine, at City Hall, became a bureaucratic assistant. And Ben comes out and talks about that, and then he says he was always enthusiastic. He also kept track of his appointments by writing them on his arm, and he's like, still do. It says like final show on his arm. And so they got him as a way to stay on track, a monogrammed day planner. And he's like, oh, that's so sweet. He gives him a hug. And as he lets go of the hug, it's gone. He's like, I lost it. Sorry. Which is accurate.
Yeah. Before the advent of phones and email calendars and all that, were you ever a day planner kind of guy? Like in high school / college, did you map out your days with when assignments were due and meetings and whatnots?
No, every day was the same when I was in high school.
Right.
And so it was not hard to manage. Like, what do I do after 4th period?
Right. Once you get through the first week of knowing when all of the periods are, you're like, all right, cool. Got this.
Yeah. Yeah. I was not good at that. But now I do. I am very on top of all of that. And I actually make my own calendar. So
like out of paper?
Yeah. I have a journal that I use to like daily planning and stuff, but it's all like dot grid. And so I make it my own daily spread for each day. And then at the beginning of every month, I make my own calendar in that journal. So I don't have problems.
That's awesome. Do you use like different pens, like different colors and stickers and stuff?
I did for a while with different colors, and then I forgot what the colors meant. So, so I was like,
that's funny.
You know what? I'm just going to stick with my black G2 pen. It's the best pen of all time.
The Pilot.
Yeah. So not the airplane.
No.
I write in my journal with a personal private plane. So yeah. Were you that way? Were you the calendar person?
No, I've tried so many times, and like Andy, I've lost several. This wasn't a setup to like, I don't have any interesting planner stories, but,
does anybody?
Well, I mean, people
Let
who
me
use
tell
them
you about this time I was jamming on my planner.
Yeah, nope.
That's Leslie's hobby. Jamming on my planner.
For Who's Your Date?
Tom N. Haverford. N stands for nerd. His favorite movie is books. That was a classic. So they keep going here, and Leslie continue talking about his life. Says from then when Andy went on to England for a few months to work for a nonprofit, and he met and befriended the 14th Earl of Cornwall upon Thames, Sir Edgar Covington. And so Eddie comes out, and Eddie is played by, I can never remember his name. Do you have it pulled up?
Nope, because my computer got hijacked by the internet.
Yeah, listener, you missed a couple minutes. And so
I missed it.
Yeah, so he was one of the Nova Corps in Guardians of the Galaxy.
There you go.
Around the same time that Andy was filming Guardians of the Galaxy is when he was working in England. And so that was a nice benefit of the Guardians schedule.
Yeah. And was the guy from Let's Make a Deal his sword bearer?
Was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Jonathan Magnum.
Oh, funny. Yeah. So he has a sword. Why does he have a sword, Jeremy?
To bestow upon Andrew Dwyer the esteemed title of Knight.
Knight of the Order of the British Empire.
Yeah. And then Ben's like, wait, can you do that?
Yeah. He's like, well, I'm rich, so I can do it. The queen lets me do what I want. And then he's like, would you like to be knighted? And he's like, oh no. Yeah. It's Andy's day. And he's like, dude, I don't mind. Oh, then yes, please knight me. And so I love the way that Eddie does this stuff. So he takes the sword out of the scabbard and just drops the scabbard.
Chucks it.
And his picker-up guy comes and picks it up. And then so he dubs them knights. And while he's doing that, Ben is saying, yes, knight, please. And winter's coming for Sir Ben Lightstorm.
He already has his Game of Thrones fanfic name.
Yeah. And so he knights them, and then he just drops the sword also.
Wait, this is so much fun.
So then Andy, Leslie's like, friend, coworker, musician, husband, Andy Dwyer, and Andy leans over, Sir Andy Dwyer, has become so many people, but his greatest creation was yet to come. A salute to Johnny Karate when we come back. So it is a commercial that jumps to, I love this one. It's like, we know what you want. Healthy, natural food that still tastes great. And we're here to tell you it doesn't exist. Healthy food is for suckers. It tastes like garbage. And if you say it, you like it, you're a chump and a liar. Be honest. This is what you want to eat. And it's like this big old burger. It's amazing. What's in it? Who cares? How many calories? Shut up. It's awesome. Put it in your body or you're a nerd. And it's like Punch Burger. So that one I love so much.
The cheese is just drizzling over the chili fries the entire time. Just piling up and overflowing. Yeah, the burger had like 5 patties or something ridiculous.
Yeah, it looked awesome. I have been following this one guy on Instagram.
Did you say it looks awesome?
It does. I would eat that. Yeah. I would attempt to eat that. But I follow one food guy on Instagram, and he's always doing like these Stitch videos with like massive food things.
Oh, yeah.
And his tagline is, I am never going to be a skinny man. And every video is like, oh, that looks so good. And one was like a pizza, like little, like a pizza where somebody cut out with like a 6-inch circle thing, like a biscuit mold, right? They cut out like a section of the pizza and then like put that on the griddle. Okay. And then they made a smash burger. And then they cut out 2 of those pizza rounds, and then they actually made the pizza bun that they talked about at the Unity concert, where I had a cheeseburger where both of the buns were pizzas. And I was like, it's happening. It's real.
The only thing I can think of right now is what do they do with the rest of the pizza? They just have a bigger pizza with 2 holes in it.
Well, those are handles.
It's a pizza poncho. You just
put your arm to the sleeves and you just wear pizza to protect you.
It's a bib. It's a pizza bib.
Yeah. I don't see what the problem is here, Jeremy.
No, nothing now that we figured it out.
Yeah. But
if you're already greasy, you can't get more greasy. So
I don't want to get non-grease on me.
Right. I want to get clean.
So it comes back from this commercial for Punch Burger, and it is talking about Mouse Rat, and Burley's like, no one was really doing what we were doing, but actually we were just basically playing covers of Dave Matthews songs. So I guess you could say Dave Matthews was doing what we were doing. And then it also then cuts to Rivers, who like playing in Mouse Rat that brought such joy to so many people. Truly was a mitzvah. I should mention I'm a rabbi now. And when the band broke up, he said, I'm going back to rabbinical school.
Right.
So
good callback.
But who's not in this little documentary is the bass player, who is also one of the writers and producers of the show. So I don't know why they didn't include him, but maybe because he's not that funny of an idea. I don't know.
Maybe he's hanging out with Tom. Who knows?
Maybe. And then for the full rockumentary, go to and now back to the show. So Leslie talks about the struggles, and one of those moments that he was struggling with, and Andy's like, well, I would have chugged that whole gallon of milk, and had I not started puking out of nowhere. And so Leslie's like, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm trying to become a police officer. And so the officer comes out to give Andy a honorary police badge. Yeah, and Andy's like, oh man, I'm an actual cop now. And he's like, no, you're not. Give me your gun and your handcuffs too. And it's like, no. So the Leslie is like, and now that you're an official police officer, and the officer again, it says he's not. I want to make that clear. He's not. You should be able to solve the case of the missing guitar. So grab your clue and head over to Professor Smartbrain. And so they goes over with the little piece of fabric that was found at the scene and gives it to Professor Smartbrain. It's like, look at it under your telescope, which it's a microscope. And so, it's got some kind of tiny initials, JC. It's like President Jimmy Carter stole my guitar.
Mm-hmm.
But why?
So that he could play songs after building a house.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. If I had a hammer. So Ben's like, no, it's not John Jimmy Carter. And then out of nowhere, open the door. Who comes through? John Cena. I mean, I'm amazed we could actually see him.
Yeah.
He's like, the champ is here. Hi, kids. And Andy's like, oh, man, John Cena in the house. John Cena, you're my hero. And he's like, wait, you're Andy? From the information I just assume you were like 10 years old. These are like, thank you.
Because he's probably a Make-A-Wish,
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah. That's probably how they got him out to come here with his guitar. And John Cena says, thank you so much, man, for bringing martial arts and music to all the children. And Andy starts arresting him. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, gotcha. Got me. He's like, what? And the officer's like, he got my cuffs. And
instead, it's his planner. He's like, what's this? Instead of his cuffs, it was the planner that he lost. That was great.
Yeah. So and he's like, John Cena, you're a great inspiration, a true hero, and this is the greatest moment of my life, but you're going down. You stole Johnny Karate's guitar. And he's like, I didn't steal this. I'm just doing this as a favor. You're going to the dunk tank, bud. And he's like, I don't want to go in the dunk tank. Shut up.
Is anybody in charge? and Ben's just standing, like they're all just standing there watching, like, nope, not really. That guy. This giant child in a gi.
Yeah, it's so good. And so they take him over to the dunk tank, and Leslie's like, and now it's time to celebrate Andy's greatest creation, Johnny Karate, who has brought so much joy and happiness to the children in southern Indiana, that we want a piece of Johnny Karate to stay here in Pawnee. And so Donna comes out with Ron playing saxophone, and they start singing Everybody Was Kung Fu Fighting, and they have this gi, and they're going to raise it up to the rafters. And like they're retiring his jersey, and Andy's like, this is so amazing. Can you believe it? And he's looking at April like, can you believe it, babe? And April is getting more and more emotional. And Leslie's like, this ghee will stay here forever. Well, not here, because the studio actually has a show where divorced people work out their problems. So that might be weird, but somewhere, and the spirit will stay with us. And so there's one more commercial break. And this one's also great. What powers us? What gives us the tools to attain our goals, face our fears, take that next step into the unknown? It's energy.
And it's just a montage of stock like video.
Yeah, of like windmills and all kinds of different stuff. Verizon, Exxon, and Chipotle are proud to announce a cross-platform merger of our three great brands. Whether it's extending your 6G coverage, drilling natural gas out of the shale, or perfecting the chicken quesadilla, we will give you the energy to get you to the next level. And with enough energy, America, nothing can stop us. The all-new Verizon Chipotle Exxon, proud to be one of America's 8 companies. And it is just so true. Oh man, I was doing some research on like Nabisco. Did you know Nabisco is owned by Pepsi?
Yeah.
And it's like, how? What? Why? So yeah, all of this, like Disney owns everything that if you're watching it is like owned by Disney now. Mm-hmm. It's craziness.
Yeah, if you ever get a chance, look up The Illusion of Choice. Like and then click on images. There's a graphic that's been around for years, and it's got like 5 different companies, and seeing all the companies that they own, it's pretty mind-boggling. Like, you think that there's all these brands out there, they're really only owned by a couple companies,
right? And like competitors. Like you go to the grocery store and there's like 2 brands of cookies, and you're like, well, I'm more of this kind of cookie person. And it's like, well, they don't care because they're both owned by Megacorp LLC.
Right.
So I don't know what LLC stands for.
Limited Liability Company.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's a learning day.
We're all learning something.
Yeah. But Verizon, Chipotle, Exxon, best. That was my favorite commercial.
It was the most surprising of all of it. Like, we're merging and it's like these 3 companies are so different. And I wonder who is the top, like who's leading the charge on this.
Grizzle.
You think it's Grizzle?
Yeah, they probably bought all of them, all 3 of them.
Yeah.
And they're creating vertical integration.
Yeah, probably. Just let me drink lemon. So they come back to the show, and he's like, I'd like to say a special thank you to anyone who's ever worked on the show. It's been the greatest job I've ever had, and today's been the best day of my life, and that's saying something. I once found a rock that looked exactly like Santa Claus, hat and everything. And so he thanks Carpenter Ron and Professor Smart Brain, karate chopped old man Barry's face, and did something new, even if it's scary to us, with Leslie Knope. Now there's one more thing, the most important one: be nice to someone. And there's a graphic, be nice to someone. And he's like, the one who needs it the most, my wife April Ledgate Karate Dwyer, come on out here. And he calls her out, and she just runs away, and Andy follows her. And this is where having a documentary crew is better than having a TV crew, because the TV cameras would not be able to follow them into the hall this way. And April is like, I feel terrible. Every week the show is an amazing train wreck, and you love doing it, and you're the best host. And even better than my all-time favorite host, Tom Snyder, which is crazy. So that is a reference that I appreciate every time, because Tom Snyder, he was a good host, but he was on very late and a long time ago. And so it's like, you really got to know about Tom Snyder. So she feels bad that they're leaving, and it's her fault. And Andy's like, no, you are what I love. The only reason I have any of this is because of you. You believed in me and supported me. You make me happy, happier than I ever thought I could be. All right. Without you, I wouldn't be anything. You're what keeps me going. You're my Verizon Chipotle Exxon. I just love it so much. That I love because it's like that. Like, everybody is on board with this Verizon Chipotle Exxon thing. Like, this merger's happening, and like, yeah, it is what keeps us going.
Yeah, this is the new normal.
Yeah. So, and then so April is encouraged by this, and she says, "Well, that was a very good. Be nice to someone." And he's like, "I did it. Now I can go finish the show." And so it ends with with them singing the song about the Johnny Karate way. And I'm not going to sing the song. And it was good. And then as the song is ending, we hear John Cena is like, guys, tarantula. And the Goliath tarantula is crawling across the ridge of the dunk tank. And he's like, can somebody get me out of here, please? And April goes over. It's like, I'll help you, John Cena. And hits the dunk tank button, and he falls into the water. End of Johnny Karate Super Magical Awesome Explosion Hour Extravaganza, whatever it's called. So, yeah, so that's that episode.
Boom.
It happened.
The end.
So your favorite commercial is the Chipotle one.
Yeah, Varick Sotley.
I really do think my favorite is the Wamapoke commercial.
Coinsy.
Coinsy.
I think if it weren't for the name Coinsy.
It's so great.
It's right there. Oh, man.
And the howling and the coin waterfall of coins. Like, it's so great. It's all so good.
What's in it? Shut up.
You're a nerd.
You want it. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Those are great commercials. So, yeah, I mean, it's a diversion away from the normal storytelling method of this show.
Right.
I get it.
And everything's felt like I feel like they wrapped up all their main story arc, like the big story arcs. And so before we got into the finale, like the last two episodes, this was kind of like our last just kind of ridiculous one, but it still also felt like a bit of a finale. Like, it wrapped up a whole bunch of things with Andy. So then we can kind of get to more of probably the top tier characters.
Yeah.
Which they again wrap up. So yeah, it was just a fun episode.
Yeah. Yeah. It was fun. Not my top. What's it rated on the IMDb? Do you still have that up?
I don't. I think I want to say it was 8.3.
8.3. All right. Yeah. That's respectable.
Yeah. Because then I think it was 8.5, then 9 point something. I'm so close, you guys. I'm using the internet on the
8.3 and then
8.3,
8.4,
and then 9.5,
and then 9.5. That is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It's got a banner that says top rated.
Yeah. Next week is two funerals. Ben has to appoint a new mayor after Mayor Gunderson dies. And we all remember who Mayor Gunderson was.
Yeah. Oh man, that one. Oh, this episode's so good.
Yeah.
All right. I'm excited for that one. So, listener, we're coming to the end. So we would love to hear from you. What are some of your favorite episodes from Parks and Recreation? And why? Please submit your responses to the review section on speedysigns.com. Which is something that delayed the start of our recording this morning. Looking at the reviews on, was it Speedy Signs or Fast Signs?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, go find.
I think it was Vistaprint.
Vistaprint. There it is.
Man, we are nerds. How many print shop websites do you guys know about? All of them.
Listener,
Maverick Labels is one of my favorite. But,
listener, go to zorktees.com. If seriously though, listener, if you go to one of these Vistaprint places, leave a review of our show, I will give you a free high five next time we see each other. So that would be
12 by 14 yard sign. Not quite as good as season 7, episode 4 of Parks and Conversation.
Yeah, please, somebody do this, and then send me a screenshot of your review before the internet breaks it.
Oh my gosh! But seriously, we are wrapping up. I think because we had talked about doing a seasonal wrap up show, and you guys have heard us talk forever about our favorite parts of these shows. But yeah, it would be fun to hear about any even if you don't talk about an entire episode, but just what were some of your highlights? What are some of your favorite parts? Because I think you and I we'll kind of go through that and just highlight some of our favorite parts and story arcs. So be part of the final conversation, and we'll talk about that. We'll talk about your guys' stuff more than our stuff. So make sure
that would be great.
You write in, and if not, then we're just gonna make stuff up.
We'll make up listeners.
It's like a threat. No. I don't want to do that. Like AI, like generated comments.
Well, that gave me an idea.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Well, if you don't want Jason to create AI generated, feelings and thoughts about parts of Parks and Rec, then be sure to write in, because it would be fun to talk about your stuff than Chat GPT.
It would be fun. Yeah. So, all right. Well, listener, email us parksandconversation@gmail.com. You can also like and review. Tell your friends about this. As like, hey, would you start listening to this podcast? It's almost over.
Finally. Oh man.
And then so we'll finish up this episode or this series, and then our next one is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Right.
And there's going to be a rebranding of our show that will have a different name. And I'm excited for it. Should we tell the people what we're going to call it?
Yeah, we can. I mean,
we probably already have. I just can't remember. But we're just going to call it Podcast 99.
I love it.
So
it's perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's the whole vibe. And then when we get to the good place, the good pod. In the office, the podcast. It's all part of this sure universe. It's a sure thing universe that we're putting together. And so, so you're in on the ground floor right now as we're finishing up our first series. Rutherford or Podcast Falls. Oh my gosh. There's so many good ideas. So
I haven't seen that one yet.
It's not amazing.
He was part of one where one of the guys, he was helping people get their citizenship. And I think it only lasted like one season. It wasn't very good either. But yeah, we can kind of in between talk about those.
Yeah, it'll be fun. So
until then, I'll see you in the comment section on vistaprint.com.
Hey, here's a review.
Of what? The show or Vistaprint?
Of the show.
Our show?
Well, yeah, okay.
Oh, man.
All right. This is a 5 out of 5 review. I recently stumbled upon the Parks and Conversation podcast, and it has quickly become one of my favorite sources of inspiration and relaxation. As a nature enthusiast and avid podcast listener, I can confidently say that this show has elevated my appreciation for the great outdoors. Hosted by knowledgeable and passionate individuals, Parks and Conversation offers a unique blend of natural history, adventure stories, and insightful discussions. What sets it apart is the genuine sense of wonder and curiosity that the hosts bring to each episode. Their enthusiasm for parks and the environment is contagious, and it's evident that they're driven by a deep love for nature. One of the standout features of this podcast is its commitment to diversity and inclusivity. Hosted by two white guys. It goes beyond just showcasing the well-known national parks, often exploring local and less visited gems.
Nope.
This approach introduces listeners to a wide range of landscapes and cultures, fostering a deeper connection to our planet's natural beauty and its people. The production quality of Parks and Conversation is top-notch. The sound design captures the essence of the outdoors, immersing you in the rustling leaves, chirping birds, and rushing waterfalls. It's an auditory treat for anyone who yearns to get away from the hustle and bustle of daily life. Is that Coinsy the wolf I hear back there? Each episode is thoughtfully researched and meticulously presented. Whether it's discussing the history of a particular park, interviewing experts, or sharing personal anecdotes from their adventures, the hosts ensure that every moment is engaging and informative. Even if you're not a seasoned outdoors person, you'll find something to enjoy and learn from in every episode. I also appreciate the podcast promotes responsible outdoor ethics and conservation efforts. It encourages listeners to be mindful of their impact on the environment and to be stewards of the places they visit. This responsible approach aligns perfectly with the values of many nature enthusiasts.
How long is this?
And I'm almost done. And conservationists. In summary, Parks and Conversation is a delightful podcast that invites you to join a community of nature lovers, explorers, and storytellers. Whether you're an experienced hiker or just someone who enjoys a good story, this podcast has something to offer. It's both educational and entertaining, and it inspires you to get out there and experience the beauty of our world firsthand. I eagerly await each new episode and highly recommend it to anyone looking to escape into the great outdoors, if only through their headphones. That brought to you by ChatGPT.
Yeah, seriously, I'm actually glad you kind of like brought that up. I don't know if we needed to hear the whole thing, but like,
we did. I didn't know how it was going to end.
We did not write that. We did not post that as a positive review. Why would somebody like? Why?
This is this is ChatGPT.
No, I know, but it's on our show page.
No. I said I went to ChatGPT. I was like, "Can you please write a customer review for the podcast Parks and Conversation?"
I thought somebody had posted that.
No.
Oh my gosh. Parks and Conversation. No.
They just went with the title.
I guess. Yeah. And then inferred all of that.
Yeah. So y'all, AI and ChatGPT is as dumb as we think it is.
Well, yeah, because it's compiling all of the dumb comments that are out there already. It's not like it can get smarter by using all of our dumbness against us.
Yeah, I mean, here's the only thing that can save us from the robot overlords. We're idiots.
Exactly. So, there's no way they can take over. I mean, dumber than us.
Yeah, at least when I'm like an idiot, I know how to stop and say, "Wait a second." I don't think this is what they're talking about. Whereas this review, nope.
No. Well, I don't know. Write us. You see now the bar's been set. You can leave a review that is way better than that.
Or let's see what ChatGPT makes for your reviews. I don't care. Just go review and post it on vistaprint.com.
Until next time.
Yeah. All right. I'll see you later.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.